Most people like cinnamon rolls, but not everyone likes working with yeast. So today we're making easy cinnamon rolls, and there's not a grain of yeast in sight. Welcome to Help at Home, your resource for great recipes and easy learning. I'm Jim Hightower. Today we're going to make easy cinnamon rolls, and there's not a grain of yeast in sight. So grab your pen and paper. Here come the easy ingredients. You will need one recipe of that Betty Crocker biscuit dough that we did a couple of weeks back, or a month, or your favorite biscuit dough. But I'm not talking about canned biscuits. You will also need about 1/4 of a cup of butter, melted. You will need ground cinnamon that you can just shake on top. This really isn't, I'm not measuring that out. It's just a shake and bake, so to speak. And you will need about 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. You just scoop it up with that 1/2 cup measure, push it in tight, and then put it in a little bowl. And you'll understand in a few minutes. Preheat your oven to 450 degrees. And this will bake for 10 to 12 minutes, about like the biscuits did. There's no frosting on these cinnamon rolls, but I'm going to explain that later, and you'll believe it when you see it. It's been a couple of weeks now, maybe a month. My apologies to my donor. But I got a text in the middle of the night with a picture of a big box sitting on my front porch, because I hadn't realized it was there. And I went out and there it was. And I opened the box, and inside was another box. And inside that was another box. And inside that was another box. If you've ever seen the Russian, what is it, Matryoshka dolls? It's exactly like that. I mean, it was, if you have the big mama, open her up, and then there's a smaller mama, and a smaller mama, and then a baby, and a baby. Anyway, look it up, Matryoshka dolls. I'm going to put that on the screen for you to see. But I kept opening it up, and I finally got down to the creamy center, except it wasn't creamy center. It was solid marble. I'm going to say that again. Solid marble. Beautiful. So I'm going to lift that up here to let you see it. So there it is. Look at all that beauty. I have to be careful what I say. I don't speak inappropriately, but a little birdie said they heard that I needed a nice place to roll things out on. I used to try to keep things on a cutting board, but these little 9x13 cutting boards, forget it. I'd love to have a big piece of marble. I'm sure you have that sometimes, but... And so, my friend, my supporter, my benefactor, Steve Carpenter, sent me a marble pastry board, and I just can't thank you enough. But on with the recipe. So, of course, you have your biscuit recipe already made out. You flour up your working surface or your pastry board, and you take your dough out, and you push it down, and let me get a little bit more of that flour there. There we go. Now, if you remember, we kneaded this just 3 times. That was one. We pushed it out. And that was 2. And then Be a little bit more thorough with this one. Heal your hand. It's cooler than your entire hand. Then just roll that over. That's 3 times. You'll need your rolling pin, the one that lets you say you're in charge. And of course, you can roll it out, or you can use it to get the dough started, you know. But need a little bit more of that flour. And dimensions aren't important. I mean, I could guesstimate that you're going to roll this out to about 10 or 12 inches wide and 8 to 10 inches long. It's warm Texas and the butter is starting to get soft in that dough. So I'm going to have to use more flour. Of course, you have to be careful with using too much flour because too much flour can make things tough, and nobody wants that. Put that over there. Okay. Now, oh, look how nice that makes it roll. So you just keep rolling. And again, you want about 12 inches wide, and you don't have to measure it, but you can measure to start with, and then you'll learn as you practice and make more and more of this recipe. That needs to be just a tiny bit thinner. So what I'm aiming for is a rectangle, and I didn't get it. You may not either. But next, this is going to go really fast. So now that you have it rolled out, you have your butter, and you want to baste it on there. Now I'm going to share a little secret with you. If you just pour this on, you'll be like, oh, 1/4 a cup's not enough. Something about just pouring it on is wasteful. But if you baste it, you'll find that you'll actually have some left over. It never hurts to leave a little bit, like a 1/4 of an inch clearance around the edges so that your dough will stick together when we roll it up. And see, I did have some left over. Next, I have my bowl with brown sugar, and you just put that over there. Just use your fingers to, push it apart. This is so easy, it really is. I think that's enough. And see, out of 1/2 cup, I have that much left. Now what you're going to do is use your hands, your impeccably clean hands and fingers, as Julia Child said. And I'm going to repeat it to those people that think, oh, you're so nasty, use your hands. Well, number one, get over it. And number two, you're not a real cook unless you can touch and feel things. Julia said, you'll never get the feel for doughs and things if you don't touch it. So there. You put just enough so that you can spread this on top of that butter without getting any butter on you. Now see how convenient that worked out? I have no butter hands. Now I'm going to dust off the edges just a tiny bit so that they will stick together. Now, all you need next is your ground cinnamon, and This is personal taste. You just sprinkle that on and you can be generous with it. Okay, that's plenty where that has made that dark. And then you just get the edge here and start rolling up. And it's slow at first. And push it down a little bit. And then you get going a little bit quicker. And if you stretch your fingers out, start it at the front and begin rolling. Look at that. See how easy that is? No big whoop. Now, roll this over and carefully keep it together, because this edge here, and you can watch, you need to start over here and pinch it. Pinch the edge to the dough here. And that's going to keep it together for you. And then, of course, you can do that here. I have just a simple pizza pan with foil on it, and all you need to do, you need a sharp knife, because you're going to cut this, and you don't want to cut it. You know what? Steve, can you send me a bigger kitchen? Don't answer that. Maybe about the first inch on your edges won't be the most perfect ones, but you can still put it on your pan and slide this over and then just kind of eyeball it. There's about an inch wide, and slowly slice and let the knife go down. You don't want to crush it. And of course, you kind of angle up your hand to run against the knife so that the knife doesn't cut any of your fingers. Okay. Then, real simple, you just set them on your pan, cut side down. There they are. Isn't that pretty? Into your 450 degree oven, 10 to 12 minutes, till they puff up and they're done. Around the edges, they'll be crisp like a biscuit, but the middles will be puffed up and tender and buttery and delicious. Back in 12. Here they are, out of the oven. I did about 10.5 minutes. At 450, you really have to watch it because that's kind of a hot oven. See how they rose up, especially in the middle. And they are crisp, slightly crisp on the outside, tender, and perhaps juicy to an extent in the middle. Just the way you like a cinnamon roll to be. With that brown sugar, it will give you the flavor and the somewhat moistness, my new word. So you really don't need any kind of frosting or icing, but you could always put a little bit of powdered sugar and some milk or water together and drizzle it if you wanted to. I've never done it with this. It's just that good. But I need to put the marble away, and then we'll come back for the glamour shot and the taste test, of course. So, Steve Carpenter, thank you again so much. You are a great friend, a loyal supporter of over 5 years, and I appreciate it. I also had someone give me a donation, money on YouTube, one of those super thank yous, and I don't get like a statement or anything, so it's hard to tell who did it, but I know somebody gave me $20, and I just want to say thank you to you. And if I can find an email that has your name in it, I will call you out and thank you properly. But at any rate, thank you to all my subscribers and to everyone that supports me. And I appreciate the exchange of information and sharing with each other. So we'll put this away, and that's how you do it. Your kids will love these, of course, or your roommates, or your siggo, your significant other. But I just love these, and if you give it about 5 minutes to cool off, get your favorite beverage, coffee, and here you go. Oh, it's light, tender. Mmm. Mmm. It almost takes you to another place. It's that good. You have that tender crust inside. Just so delicious. And I think these are best served warm, so if you have any left over, which you won't, because somebody will take those into a corner and eat them all by themselves, but if you did have some left over, pop them into the microwave, 15 seconds or something, have it warm. It's just wonderful. And this is almost better than traditional cinnamon rolls, because with the yeast, they're all light and fluffy. These are made with that delicious baking powder biscuit dough, and biscuits give you that heartier, filling up feeling, and so add that to the cinnamon roll taste and you've got it made. If you like this recipe for easy cinnamon rolls, and there's not a drop of yeast in sight, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends who like to cook or just want to learn how. Drop me a line in the comments below about your experience with this recipe and what else you might like to see in the kitchen. Click the bell below the video for all notifications, and then you'll receive those notifications in the top right hand corner bell. I'm Jim Hightower, and remember, everyone needs help, even me. Enjoy and be well. Most people like meh. No, I guess most people don't like meh. Today we're not going to work. Flopper. That's for Brooka. But yeast is not really that hard to work with. It just takes a little bit of time. Get it? Time, because it has to rise. But anyway, yeah. Now, there's no what? I've done it again. Blooper reel. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and flopper.